Welcome to the IDP Plus Start Sit Show for Week 15. And holy cow, as we go live, the comments are just pouring in, or the questions are pouring in from people who wanted to get their questions answered. So we're excited to have you here. We're excited to help you win your playoff game here in Week 15 and move on towards the championship. And I am joined, as always, by the superbly IDP talented Sean Teague at Sean8386. Sean, how are you doing today, man?
Doing great. Sounds like I forgot to mute my phone once again. It let me know that the IDP Start Sit show just started. So,
All right, well, awesome. That's great to hear. And glad that you were here ahead of time. That's awesome. I even wore my lucky IDP shirt, kind of lure it for folks to see.
all
Little
right,
shout out
the
for IDP this
NWO.
week. Yeah, with the NWO look, exactly. I know you're a big Sting fan and all.
Yes, sir.
You and I both showing ages a little bit, but we're going to try and help as many people as we can today. But if it starts getting later in the show, we may have to go to the super chat route for those that come in late, and those that do a super chat. We guarantee to answer your question, but others later in the show we might not get to. But how about we just go ahead and jump in and start answering some questions, Sean?
I'm ready.
All right, fantasy breakout. First in line again. Love Fantasy Breakout. Glad to have him here. Okay, he'll be in the car, so yeah, doing some driving here, but hopefully he'll be able to listen live. I'm in a 14-teamer, one spot out of the playoffs. I'm fifth and playing the fourth, so it's a win and get in. So this is interesting. So his playoffs actually start next week. So this is his get into it. So with that, he adds, I need a high floor with some upside. So which defensive lineman should he play? Jeff Simmons with a matchup against Cincinnati, Zach Allen and his defense, excuse me, his game against the Colts, Leonard Williams with the Packers, Matabuike for Baltimore against crud. I can't believe I just drew a blank on that.
The Giants, New York
The Giants,
Giants.
yes. And Joseph Osai for Cincinnati going up against Tennessee, or a Bucks defensive lineman. So he's got lots of options there.
Hmm. Matchup wise, Metabuke and Osai, I think, probably have the best two. I'm gonna be honest. I've picked up Osai in a couple of these because he is going against the Titans, and he does have that starting role pretty much handled over there next to Trey Hendrickson. He's the guy I'm targeting. He's the guy I've already suggested to a few others to play this week. So I'm going to stick with that.
I do like the Osai matchup. He's only playing 50% of the snaps. Actually, Miles Murphy actually played more snaps than him last week at 57%. Hubbard actually fell through the floor with his
Mm-hmm.
lowest snap percent of the year. But am I really going to trust a Joseph Osai over a Jeffrey Simmons, a Zach Allen, or a Leonard Williams, who's just been an absolute monster? The way Green Bay's been
Against
running
the
the ball.
Packers, though, yeah, I just don't know if he'll get through to get any big plays. So I'm looking for those big sacks, the big plays.
But he's looking for a high floor, and it just feels like Williams with
Oh, high floor. I thought he was going to say
yeah, so high floor with some upside in Williams with the
that.
way they run the ball in Green Bay. I mean, Love has not been throwing the ball nearly as much in terms of attempts per game. I'm actually leaning towards Williams on this one, and he's been a beast the last 3 weeks for sure. It's in Seattle to boot.
It's in Seattle. He got Zach Allen going against the Colts, who have been not good.
Yeah, the thing with the Colts that worries me is how many snaps they're going to be on the
Snaps,
field on
right?
offense, and that's
That's
why I'm
very
actually
fair.
sitting Zach Allen, who have been playing all year, because of that concern that he's not on the field enough.
Yep. So yeah, high floor. I'll go with you, Leonard Williams.
Yeah. So I'm and particularly with a high floor, to me that means most tackles. I think Williams has the most opportunity for tackles on this one. The Giants, similarly, with Tommy DeVito at quarterback and how bad they looked against the Saints, um, I'm just not trusting that they may be on the field enough. I could see just Baltimore getting a lead and running, and the clock going.
Yeah.
So fantasy breakout. I think we're going to go with Leonard Williams, but I do your Osai call. I have a feeling may come up later in some of the questions and all, and I do like Osai's matchup this week against Tennessee as well, particularly someone who needs a big upside as well. So I'm with you on that for sure. All right, fantasy breakout. Also, by the way, fantasy breakout. We appreciate you always getting in the first questions. By the way, we're really glad to have you part of the show. Boot is my defensive back, so no worries. Yep, that's for sure. But at linebacker, Sherwood, Speed, Davis, Gaither, Ellis, or Jewell rank the top three. Speed and the Colts do not have a good matchup against the Broncos, believe it or not. Um,
Right.
um, and so that hurts a little bit. And the Sherwood and the Jets against the Jags, I don't feel great about that one either, to be honest with you.
I could say the same with Davis Cather against the Titans. You know, they run the ball a lot, but they don't give out a lot of points to the linebackers either.
That's a great point as well. So are we going Jewell with Carolina as one of our first ones?
Jewell's the top one here, yes.
Okay, so Jewell's in. Now, the thing with the Atlanta defense, Ellis has been productive, but they haven't been playing a lot of snaps the last 2 weeks. So do you think that changes against the Raiders? I would lean to it
I don't.
does not.
Yeah, yeah, no.
So while he's got some great names on here, unfortunately, he's got some terrible matchups.
So I think I still start Sherwood after that
Okay.
big game. I don't expect that big of a game again.
Yeah, we're not expecting the 18 tackles, but we're not expecting the 4 that he had the previous week. So we're expecting somewhere in between. I could see Bigsby getting 18 carry, or maybe not 18, 14 carries for 42 yards, and Sherwood cleaning up a bunch of those.
Absolutely,
So we're in on Sherwood, we're on Jewell. Who are going to do it as our third one?
man. This is tough.
Tennessee has been running the ball with Pollard quite a bit. I know they haven't been giving up as much points, but it just, boy,
even even still, right now over the last 4 weeks, the Colts are giving up more points than the Titans to linebackers.
okay, and that would coincide with Richardson coming back. But that would explain the complaints about Jonathan Taylor too, and his lack of, you know, he's running the ball a lot, not catching anything, but he's just getting stopped a lot. So are we going to go with,
I'm going to go with speed.
you're going to go with Speed.
I'm
Jewell,
going to keep my studs in here right now.
Jewell, Sherwood, Speed. That's a, particularly given the tough matchups for a lot of these guys, stick with your biggest studs, and I think that would be the biggest stud. So I will support you on that. And fantasy breakout, good luck, man. Hope you make the playoffs. And either way, come join us next week, okay? Fantasy sports, another regular. Welcome back, fantasy sports. Drop one for weeks 16 through 18.
Ooh,
I'd have to look at all the schedules, and I don't know if we're going to have time because of all the questions. So, just on the surface, without looking at schedules, so being real transparent,
I'm thinking
Devontae,
Hopkins.
it was between Hopkins and Smith for me. I'm keeping Flowers and
Yeah,
Thielen. Um, the Eagles just aren't throwing the ball a ton, and
I know it.
the way Barkley's been running the ball and so forth, and with AJ Brown squeaking if they're going to throw the ball, it feels like they're throwing more to Brown. Devontae Smith, I was looking at some rankings on just different sites and all. He was ranked below flex level or at low flex level on a lot of sites in the 40s and so forth.
Mm.
Um,
It's been
I'd
a rough
rather,
year.
yeah. So I'm with you. If any of those, I mean, it may be the biggest name on the list, but if I have to drop one, I'm dropping Devontae Smith. But I'd really want to know who you're keeping or picking up in lieu of him. That's the only thing I'd say.
Right, right. Yeah, I don't want to just drop these guys just to have a spot. I want to know who I'm getting.
Right. So you're dropping Hopkins, I'm dropping Smith. So sorry, fantasy sports, we're split a little bit on that, but um, good luck with that choice. Flip a coin. But once again, give consideration to, are you really picking up something better than these guys who could potentially go off? Like if AJ Brown were happen to get hurt, holy cow, Devontae Smith would be the target for the Eagles as an
Right.
example.
Because they've already lost Goddard also. He would be the last man standing.
Exactly. Not that I'm wishing anything bad to AJ Brown. I want to be clear on that, everybody.
Right.
All right, half PPR. Pick one running back out of Dowdle or Brees Hall.
This is
Half.
Dowdle. Yeah. No, I'm not thinking about this one. Brees
There
Hall's,
was.
he's been banged up. I don't trust that offense right now either. Uh, Dowdle going against Carolina, that feels like easy money.
That feels like cha-ching,
Yeah.
cha-ching. Yeah, exactly. The thing with Brees Hall, an ESPN report came out this morning after, and it wasn't Schefter. It was like the local ESPN beat writer, whatever. They said that while Hall is expected to be active, they expect him to be limited.
Mm.
That makes me worried, particularly with Allen and Davis both doing well. I'm going with Dowdle, who's the unquestioned one of this one again, particularly against Carolina. I'm with you. Start one of the following wide receivers: Jameson, Hopkins, Amari Cooper, and Christian Watson. And then out of Brees Hall and these others that we don't pick for this wide receiver spot, who are you putting as a flex? So you're going to start one out of Williams, Hopkins, Cooper, and Christian Watson.
All these guys are kind of boomer bust. So now I'm going to look at matchups. Who do I think is going to be in a shootout? That's Jameson Williams.
It's Detroit Buffalo for me that I think is going to, I'm almost
Yeah.
certain that is the high scoring game out of Vegas. If not, it's one of the top couple. And
Mhm.
so I'm with you. I'm going with Jameson Williams out of all these guys. Now he has the biggest bust possibility as well, probably of all of them.
Right.
Um,
Absolutely.
Cooper got 14 targets last week in the game, um,
Keon
but
Coleman, is he back this week?
Coleman is supposed to be back. That is correct. Kincaid is supposed to be back.
Mm. That could muddy Cooper a bit.
Yeah,
But
that's
do I trust Hopkins or Watson more than that? I don't trust Watson hardly at all. Romeo Dobbs is coming back as well in
correct.
Seattle. I mean, I really see them just running the ball all day. So I'm not
Yep.
expecting a lot out of Watson.
And the thing about the Kansas City Cleveland game is that there is expectation for some pretty bad winds and weather. Unfortunately, in one league, I picked up a third quarterback in the Kings Classic League. My two quarterbacks are Mahomes against Winston in that nasty weather, are Russell Wilson going up against Philadelphia. It doesn't feel good for advancing when those are your quarterback options when two are playing in really bad weather. And look, for those that aren't familiar, when you start getting into winds of 15 to 18 mile 15 miles per hour and above, sustained,
Yeah,
and gust into the 30 mile per hour range, that's when you start running into problems in passing and kicking games. This one is expected to be in the 15 to 18 mile per hour um, regular range and then gusting up higher. So that even makes me more nervous for this Hopkins situation. So
right.
Jameson Williams
Jameson Williams, then Amari
and
Cooper.
Cooper as the flex. Okay, there you
Yeah.
go, fantasy breakout. Good luck, safe driving. Hopefully our recommendations didn't cause you to put your car in the ditch. Okay. uh, Before Greenlaw went out, this from Fantasy Sports, he was leading in tackles. Would you start him the next 2 weeks? How do you rank these linebackers? Cashman, Greenlaw, Jack Campbell, and Jewell.
I was not expecting Greenlaw to come out like that. I thought he
I
would be eased into playing and splitting more time, and they just turned him loose. That was insane.
and he was running around like he was shot out of a cannon. I mean, it was
Right.
amazing.
Like
And
he'd been waiting all year for this day.
yeah, you think he was injured and had all this built-in frustrations that he was letting out. But then all of a sudden, in the third quarter, he does this waving thing,
Yeah,
and someone goes in for him. Someone didn't want to go in for him,
that's big
apparently,
news. Yeah.
and but he didn't go back the rest of the game, and he had his helmet off. But apparently, the reports afterward, his Achilles was sore, his knee was sore, so he asked out. That's the risk you have with running with him
Right.
for the rest of the year. So I right now, assuming the injury reports are okay, like going into next week, Jack Campbell is probably the one of these four that I'm sitting. I'm probably running with Greenlaw based on what I saw.
Yeah.
Um, Even with the 49ers realistically out of the playoff race, um, I'm putting Campbell on the bench out of these four.
Mhm.
You lunch
Yeah,
on?
absolutely. Yeah.
All right. Oh, this is a good tricky one. Looking at the Patriots safeties, who do you want to own, Peppers or Duggar? And I'm assuming this is rest of season, by the way, not dynasty.
I've actually picked up Peppers in a few leagues. I actually did it the week before when they went on bye. Once Peppers came back again, he another guy that came right back and played 100% and really lit it up. So I'm excited to see Peppers back. I'm playing him over Duggar for sure.
Yeah, they both had a bunch of box snaps, which was really interesting. Peppers had more than Duggar. And so I am leaning toward Peppers as well. And I too picked him up in two leagues. I did it this week. I wasn't as smart as you to get ahead of it, but luckily they were sitting out there on the waiver wire. So I grabbed them and took them. All right, another regular from the IDP Advice Show and our show here. We got Harry. Welcome, Harry. Yeah, and as we talked about on the YouTube, underneath the IDP Plus Advice show that comes out every Wednesday morning that I host. So thank you for the questions there, Harry. But he did lose Newman to IR, and he said he was going to pick up Belton after we went back and forth a little bit. And what's interesting is Pinnock's deep percentage increased even more once Newman left the game. I guess they don't trust Belton to play deep, so Belton was more in the box. So he's asking, do I pick him up or hold him for Tyke Smith or Chin or Connor or Julian Blackman or Eric Murray? Really good question.
I'm not trusting Eric Murray.
Definitely
Um,
not. Murray's out for me too. Blackman's been playing more
Chin,
deep than cross for the Colts.
right. Chin has been very inconsistent. I am scared of him. Tyke Smith depends on matchups. With all the injuries going around, I really don't know how that's going to look. Connor, I get it, but I believe he is the slot guy right now.
That
He's
is
actually been
correct.
putting up some pretty solid numbers, even though it's limited snaps. He's in prime position. But would I play these guys over Belton? Is that what I'm trying to figure
That's
out here?
Yeah, exactly right. He's saying, would you pick up one of these others for
Oh,
Belton?
um, I would look at Connor. He's the one I think I like the most out of this group over Belton.
Yeah. So Tyke Smith. Let's see. Boy, I'm having trouble remembering who's playing who. So Tampa Bay is going against the Chargers. The Chargers have tended to play a lot of 11 personnel, but they have played a decent amount of two tight end stuff as well. They brought in
Mhm.
Matlock, Fisk, Smart. Unfortunately, Disley's out injured. Of course, McConkey's potentially out as well, although I did see this morning there's a chance he plays.
I don't
That's
feel
still
great
too,
about
that's still too
that.
much of a gamble from a guessing perspective of how many snaps Tyke Smith ends up playing. And,
Right.
and do they move him to safety potentially based on, are they really comfortable with Merriweather back there? Edwards is out, Whitehead's out. Just don't know the utilization back there. Tavier Thomas even played a little bit deep. Who knows what's going to happen? Um, so staying away from that. Chin, it was nice when we knew you for that 3 game incredible run, but but the other 11 or so games have not been great. So
Right.
I'm actually sticking with Belton on this one. And the other thing too, with him playing more At least he did last week when he came in. Many more box snaps. And with the Giants offense, I think it's just going to be so bad against Baltimore. I just think, at least for this week, Belton's going to have so many opportunities that I'm running with
Right.
Belton. So
Well, I'll be
I'm
with
going,
Carrick's out again also, so you may get a little more opportunities there, I guess.
yep.
Um, and he's guaranteed a spot for the rest of the year too. So we know Dubin's not coming back. Yeah, New Belton. And like I say, Connor was the only other guy I would consider putting in because I do think Connor has a spot locked up as well.
All right. So Belton, I think it sounds like we're sticking with Belton, but then Connor is our backup at this point in time, is what you're recommending.
Yeah, that's the other guy I would keep an eye on.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Another regular. We got Skywalker here. Glad to have you, Skywalker. Should I continue with Zach Allen in playoffs in weeks 16 and 17, or drop him for any of Gross Matos, Floyd, Josh Sweat, Joseph Asai, or Calevon Chason, the LSU stud, who maybe the light bulb is finally going on after 5 years? The past couple of weeks have been good, and Max Crosby sadly went on
He's
IR.
out. I
Yeah,
think that hurts Jason.
yeah, yeah, because there's that, they don't have to double or triple team Crosby anymore, so that
Right.
that hurts Chason as well. I agree with you on that. 5 points for a
I'm
tackle, 3 points for assist. Those are some darn good numbers.
I don't think I just dropped Zach Allen. I don't think I can do that.
I don't think I'm
Not
doing it for
for
any of these guys either.
no.
Now,
There's some of these
even
guys are going to have good matchups here and there, but for rest of season, Zach Allen, it's hard to sit him. I know his matchup isn't great this week, mostly due to the expected low snaps. But I mean, he can still go off in those few snaps too. So I'm not dropping Allen. I don't I don't think I can do that for these guys.
I'm with you. I'm for any of these guys this list, I'm still sticking with Zach Allen. Now, my expectations are managed lower for today, being real transparent, Skywalker, and it sounds like Sean's in the same boat. But in general, we're keeping Allen for the rest of the playoff season here. And then, which safety in Tampa Bay do you think plays the Winfield type role? So if you were making a guess, it's my guess is Merriweather
Yeah,
with Tavier Thomas deep. No, well, with
Easy
Izzy
and
and
still there
probably,
too.
I'm sorry, with probably Izzy and deep.
I expect Izzy and deep, and I expect Merriweather to be the thumper up near the line,
Yeah.
taking on that role.
Now keep in mind, we always do talk about where they're lined up on the field and so forth, but Merriweather, not to mention Izzy, they're no Antoine Winfield. So just
Right.
because they're stepping into that role doesn't mean they're going to get that kind of production, right, Sean?
Yeah, absolutely. You don't just replace him, but they are in the position to potentially play better or to get more points because of where they'll be put. Uh, but I would look into some other options if there's anybody else out there over picking any of those guys up.
Yeah, we're aligned on that. All right. Dynasty Daddy has a question that I am almost certain I know your answer right away on this one based on our discussions in the past. But are we going Ugo Amadi out of that incredibly productive Saints slot position, Kyle
Yes.
Duggar, or the banged up Taylor Rapp?
Yeah. I'm milking this cow till the milk runs out, and that's a Marty.
That is well put. Now, they're going against Washington. Um, Washington does do a decent amount of three wide, but I expect them to be running the ball quite a bit. I expect a blitz off the edge. I don't expect a sack necessarily against Jade Daniels, but I do expect at least 8 total tackles, probably, in 6 of which are solo out of Amadi. You think that's reasonable?
That seems to be his line every week is about 8 tackles.
Yep.
That's yeah. I've been betting that for anybody looking to get in on some DraftKings money. His line is usually at 4.5, 5.5. So put some money on that. So he's usually getting 6 to 8.
And as a side note, we do have our IDP Plus Bets channel. here on YouTube, which I bring it up every week. And those are the types of things that our analysts who are experts in IDP and do a lot of IDP research and follow up will give you some easy ways to make some money. And that's a great one right there.
He's been making me money. Yes.
All righty, MBOT, and we were talking about this a little bit before the show. Leonard Floyd Call helped him big time last week. Thank you very much, bud. Glad you're listening. Glad we could help you out. And he has 3 questions for 2 leagues. So, all right, we're going to roll through these since MBOT has been such a loyal follower for us. Here's the first one. Needs 2 out of Caden Ellis, Jabril Peppers, Cody Barton, Oluwakan, who had very different usage last week, thank goodness, and
Right.
Bobby Wagner. And it's on the lower scoring side for tackles as we look at this list. So does any one of them jump to the top of the list for you, Sean? Or does any of them, like right off the bat, you're pulling off the list?
Yeah, we've talked about being scared of Zach Allen because of the potential low numbers. You got to do the same with Barton here. So he's pretty much out for me.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm gonna put Bart near the bottom as well. Okay, so do we want to roll with 3 safeties over Peppers, or because Peppers playing a decent amount in the box, we're not necessarily knocking him down yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
Um, I do like Aluakun's usage again. Like he's back where we want him.
at
If
least
that
for one
sticks,
week, that's the
yeah.
risk.
If that sticks,
Yes.
and then Wagner. That's the other guy. I think I'm going with Aluakun and Wagner. I think I want those two still
Even against the Saints offense with Jake Hayner at quarterback.
because of the probably heavy run usage, the check downs, the tight end passes. I think Wagner still has a solid day.
Sold. Okay, so we're in on Oluwakan and Wagner. Now we got to decide between Ellis and Peppers.
I think I like Peppers.
Oh, you like Peppers. I was leaning
I
Ellis
think
on this
so.
one a little bit. I do
I
like
get the
Peppers.
Peppers. I get the LS love, and he does give you that sack.
He's got the sack potential
Yeah,
more than Peppers, and that's the reason why. I have a little bit.
Peppers. Peppers. I'm looking at probably getting a pass defense or two. Is what I'm seeing, and those are 3 points as well. So,
Uh,
yeah, I'm still going Peppers. I'm still going Peppers.
okay, so sorry to do that to you, Mbot. We are lying to Oluwakan and Wagner. Sean's running with Peppers. I'm running with Ellis on this one. I think they're both pretty good options, so I could see why you're struggling on this one. But Barton is the one of the 5. We're worried about the Colts. We could be wrong, but the way the snap count has been, I think that your safer play is to leave Barton out at this point in time. Okay, so his second question excuse me. All right, we know the first one. Starting 2 DBs out of Ugo Hamadi, Kevin Byard, Peppers, Saint Ristille, and Ardarius Washington. So while you're thinking about it, let me just give some insight. Ardarius Washington had a personal situation come up on Saturday, and it's not clear if he's going to play. Now, the good news is Baltimore's in the early game, but
Mhm.
he also has been playing significant amount of his snaps deep. Hamilton was playing a little bit more. They've wrote they've both been playing a decent amount deep. So Washington makes me the most nervous. So I'm taking him off this list first out of this group.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Who happens to be first on your list?
It's a Mahdi. Still milking the cow.
Still with you with Amadi. Now Byard had led the team, the Bears and tackles, like 3 or 4 straight weeks with double-digit tackles. Last week was roughly down to 5. Um,
Not a great matchup.
Not a great matchup. Don't like the matchup against Minnesota, do you?
No,
Okay.
I do not. I'm leaving Peppers. Here's my next guy. I don't know where Sanders still is going to be. I don't know what his usage is going to be with Lattimore coming back. So until I know for sure there, I'm leaning with the two I feel the most comfortable with, Amadi and Peppers.
I'm with you on that one. I do like Samuel Steele, and boy, if they move him to a slot, holy cow, to the moon
Right. Yeah.
with him. But is he and Lattimore on the outside and Nick Guanamane? Hey, I didn't butcher that one too bad
That was
on the
good. That was
inside,
good.
or is St. Juice uh, stay on the field and Samuel Steele goes to slot? That's the big question going into playoff week, particularly when you have Peppers and Amadi as options. We're going to recommend Peppers and Amadi and Bot. So good luck to you, buddy, on that one. And his third question, and because he's a regular, he gets three questions. One, one defensive lineman out of Burns, Hayward, Sealer, and Ashawn Robinson.
Only one. Man, look at these options. Oh boy, Burns is out. I'm not. I'm not going Burns.
Worried about Burns burning you?
Yeah.
I'll be here all week, ladies and gentlemen. Lamar Jackson isn't the easiest person to sack. Not impossible, but Hayward's been doing really well. Sealer's been doing well. Ashawn Robinson, I've been like really tooting his
Yeah.
horn for weeks and weeks and weeks on the IDP Plus Advice show.
I
So
don't know how we sit Robinson right now. This dude's had a great year.
he,
The matchup's pretty decent.
but
Hayward Steeler, man.
of course, Sealer missed a little bit of time when he had that. That was one of my bad jokes on the IDP Plus Advice show. I said he had an orbital fracture, and we're keeping an eye on if he'll be playing or not. But he is
Nice.
playing. Yeah, I see what I did there. God, it's week 15, isn't it, folks? Okay,
Yeah.
so
For super chat right now, we will shut him down.
yes, if you
All
paid
the
super
dad
chat,
jokes.
Ricky
Yeah.
will stop with the bad jokes. How's that? Man, I do like Sealer against Houston and Mixon running the ball like 18, 20 times.
I see Dowdle running a lot against Carolina as well. I'm
All
going with Robinson. Yeah, it's
right,
Robinson for me.
all right. Let's talk about Pittsburgh and Hayward. Think Saquon Barkley might carry the ball about 20 times as well?
He's been known to do so, yes.
Wow,
So
those are
these
so.
are all really good options.
Yeah, we're definitely out on Burns. Okay, so we're there. You're on Robinson. Boy, I tell you what. Whew. I don't think Hayward gets a sack this week against the Eagles line, and as little as the Eagles throwing the ball, I think that's a lower probability. So that low,
I'm going totally off tackles here. So if anybody gets a sack, it's even bigger bonus. These are all guys I'm expecting to get half a dozen tackles. Robinson, I see getting closer to 8, 9, something like that.
the Dallas offensive line is so beat up, and Cooper Rush isn't exactly Usain Bolt. So I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go Robinson over Sealer, but boy, for me, it's much closer than I think it is for you. Okay.
Yeah,
All
these are all great options.
all right. Nathan made it out of church to give us a plug here. I don't disagree with him about the best during start shit show. And as a reminder, use the super chat. We'll make sure and answer your questions if you use the super chat, folks. And Sean, keep an eye out to make sure that if any of them show up.
Yeah.
Okay, now this is a great question from Roger Milner. Thoughts on Hewitt this week? So Christian Harris has been activated, of course, from IR and is expected to play today. Aziz Al-Shair, of course, is suspended. So you've got Christian Harris, Toto, or Tuatu, or something like that,
Toa
and
Toa.
Hewitt. Toa. That sounds like something in a rap song. Or something. And then Neville Hewitt. Okay, nobody did a super chat, so therefore I kept with a bad joke. That was really bad, I know. So thoughts on Hewitt? I'm thinking Hewitt is the third linebacker this week. But what do you think?
I don't trust any of them at all this week. It's a good matchup, and if I knew for sure who was playing, I would definitely plug them in. But I'm not convinced Harris comes in and just takes off like Greenlaw did. I could see rotation going on here, um, and they may play all three of them just because of Petrie being out, just to
Yeah.
stack the box a little more against HN and them. I'm staying away from all these guys right now.
Super analysis there, Sean. And while I do think Hewitt will play the third most snaps, I do think there'll be a rotation, particularly in Harris's first game back. Um, I mean, remember, he's missed all year long, and he wasn't activated prior to their bye. He did start practicing. He was a full practice from the start, but he doesn't have his game legs, so could easily see a rotation to your point. And so I'm probably definitely staying away from Hewitt, but I don't want any of them for sure, Roger. So good luck, man. Hope you have other options. Hello, another regular. Boy, I love all these regulars. So Perksec, and I always butcher his name, and I apologize. Um, Okay, so he's got Greg Russo, Jack Campbell, DeMar Hamlin, and we're going to have to check the inactives because Hamlin, I can't remember if he finished with the questionable tag or if they removed him. So we're going to have to check that here in a second.
Questionable the last I seen.
Okay, so would you replace, and he plays in the 3 o'clock window as well, so we got to be careful on that too. So does Campbell for that matter, and so does Russo. All of these are in the 3 o'clock window, 3 o'clock Central, 4 o'clock Eastern. Sorry. Uh, would you replace any of these guys with guys like McFadden, McDuffie, Jordan Hicks, Tyke Smith, Diabate? Every point counts because he was a Purdy owner. I feel that pain. I played Purdy in one league. Luckily, it was a week out of bye, and I set a lineup anyway. But but I could feel the pain of watching Purdy struggling this past week. So I have one I'm definitely putting in my lineup, and that is Micah McFadden.
Yeah, that was the first one I was going with as well. Yeah, I don't want any Campbell this week. This is going to be a shootout, and his stats haven't been great anyway. But McFadden lit it up. Okereke is out for sure. Uh, Dexter Lawrence is still gone, so there's more holes in that line. Yeah, McFadden's just about a must start this week.
So you're putting in McFadden over Campbell, it sounds like, correct?
Yep,
Okay. So
absolutely.
with that being said, are there any of these others you're substituting out for Russo or Hamlin? And I'm 100% with you on McFadden.
Russo, man, I'm probably going to leave in unless this is just IDP flex. But I'm assuming this is D line, linebacker, DB.
Yep.
I don't see another option here for Russo. Um, and Smith over Hamlin. I'm not
Yes.
doing that, but I am looking for a Hamlin replacement just in case.
Yeah, you've got to make sure that you have somebody in the late window that can substitute in for Hamlin in case he turns out to be inactive. So there's that. Jordan Hicks. So the one thing, let's say it's not defensive line, linebacker, and defensive back. Would you put in Jordan Hicks for either Russo or Hamlin?
I would feel better putting in Isaiah McDuffie than Jordan Hicks.
Oh wow. Oh, that's
Going
Isaiah
against,
McDuffie. I was thinking Trent McDuffie. Oh yes.
yeah.
So even with Cooper coming back from injury,
Is he for sure starting, or is that going to be a
we,
rotation?
we don't we don't know. That's what I'm concerned about. Do they go back to that rotation where McDuffie's around 70% of the snaps and Cooper gets 40 something percent?
That's a good point. Mm. I don't feel good about any of them then.
Okay, so we're definitely
Diabati, Diabati is a definite no.
okay.
He's just not producing enough for me.
And we
Hicks
talked
over Diabate.
okay, and we talked about Smith earlier in the show how we can't trust the Tampa Bay
Right.
secondary, and particularly this Chargers matchup. So we put in McFadden for Campbell, have a pivot off of Hamlin, Perksack P, and good luck, buddy. And let's move to Dale Cooper, who we started to see Dale a little bit more regularly. Welcome, Dale, today. And Dale was asking, Brees Hall or Dowdle? I think we touched on this a little bit earlier, didn't we? And sorry if you missed it, Dale, when we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we were all in on Dowdle over Hall. Too many questions about Hall, particularly when the report came out this morning. He could be limited if he plays. And Dowdle against Carolina. Sean called it out really well. Great matchup. Okay. Ralph, and Ralph may be new. I don't recognize the name, but welcome, Ralph. Bryce Young or C.J. Stroud at quarterback? Stroud against a Miami defense that Jalen Ramsey got picked on and beat pretty bad last week. Fuller's back though, so that is one of your options. And you have Bryce Young going against the Cowboys. By the way, and the Carolina Panthers are favored according to Vegas right now.
I don't know if I believe that. Bryce Young is going against Ron Bland and Trayvon
No,
Diggs.
Trayvon Diggs is out. He
He
got
is
put on
out.
IR
Okay,
yesterday. Overshown got put on IR
that's
yesterday.
right. That's right.
Kendricks is potentially out, by the way. He didn't practice all week. They listed him as questionable, but he had a shoulder injury, and without practicing all week, chances are he's not playing.
I missed the Diggs news. Oh boy, I think this has made that a lot closer. Um,
The Houston
I,
line has been struggling, and Miami's pass rush is nothing to sneeze at necessarily.
I'm looking at Miami and Houston being either a low scoring game or a high scoring game. Mostly because both offensive lines are going to be,
Way to be definitive there. It'll be either high
yeah,
or low.
it's high or low. Well, because I think both will have to throw the ball, and both have some decent pass rushing going on against bad offensive lines. So I having to throw the ball and actually getting the ball out, I don't know how that's going to work out. Um,
So, so I must admit, I was checking a couple of rankings here as we're talking, and most of them have Stroud, including ours, over Bryce Young. But I have to admit, I am leaning towards Bryce Young.
I'm leaning towards Bryce Young as well, and I don't feel great about that. Uh,
And I'm sure
you're
Ralph
gonna,
probably doesn't either if this is his two choices.
but with as banged up as Dallas is right now, both offense and defense, there should be plenty of opportunities here. Like I
And
don't
then
see Dallas being able to just completely run the ball and hold the game clock all game. I could see this being a high scoring game too. Yeah, let's go with Bryce Young.
we're gonna line on Bryce Young. We were lining. I'm looking at the sorry, I was looking trying to see something real quick on the Cowboys. Technically, Trevon Diggs did not get put on IR yet, but he is inactive for today. I was just double checking that just to be sure here on the side. Okay, moving along here. Wow, we're down to 17 minutes left in the show. If you want to make sure you get your question answered, be sure to use the super chat. Debt to Virginia. Um, three, needs three. A heavy tackle PPR league. So it's a heavy scoring lead for tackles. So we got Ernest Jones, Speed, Josie Jewell, N'Kobe Dean, Micah McFadden, and Roquan.
Wow. Okay.
He's worried about Roquan, if I'm interpreting that last part of the question correctly, that if the game becomes a blowout, as we've seen in a few other games, Roquan only played like 70% of snaps and didn't have great stats in these blowout games. So I can see why he is definitely worried about that. With that, who's number one on your list out of this group?
Oh, man, this is a really
I,
good group.
I have to.
Um,
The first two that jumped up to me, to be honest with you, Ernest Jones against Green Bay.
yeah,
I do like the way they've been running Jacobs and not throwing as much, and I think that'll create a lot of tackle opportunities, which he's stressed for Jones. So
right.
that's why I had that one there.
McFadden was the other one that jumped out, and
McFadden was,
Jewel was the third one that really jumped out.
yeah, exactly right. I'm with you on those three. Those are all great options, and particularly with the Roquan risk. And there's been some games, even when Roquan's played a lot, that he hasn't had like awesome stats. But boy, maybe I'm over fearing how bad the Giants are going to be this week on offense. But right now, Jones, Jewell, and McFadden are our recommendations to you. Good luck, and we hope you move on. Debt to Virginia or VA. Roger's asking, does Jesse Bates have a good matchup this week versus Las Vegas? What do you think, Sean? He's been
Do that.
Jesse
That's all
Bates
we're
has been
going to know.
he's been playing a lot of deep safety. Both him and Simmons, they've been a lot of two deep this year. He's
I'm going
hurt
to say
both of their
probably
stats.
not. Hell, it's not terrible. It's just not a great matchup. Um,
Desmond Ritter's the likely quarterback on Monday night.
Desmond Ritter revenge game against Atlanta. I just don't know how much this offense is going to get done against Atlanta. I'm a bit concerned about that. If I have a better option, better matchup, I would take it. But if not, Bates is a solid player, solid matchup. It's just not the greatest matchup.
Yeah, I'm not a
I feel
huge
like I feel like it's going to take a turnover to really put Bates up this week.
a turnover or maybe somehow he gets a blitz sack. You know, Ritter's kind of running out of the pocket, and Bates comes up and gets him right at the line of scrimmage and gets a cheap sack. That's
Right.
that's about. I'm not feeling great about Bates, Rogers. So neither one of us are great if you have other options. Okay, John Sielka, and I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but I think John's new. Welcome, John. We're going to pick up the pace. Once again, we are absolutely not going to get to all the questions on the list here, folks. So for 99 cents, if you do a super chat, you could do more. And we'll prioritize those that do more. But to get your questions answered, use the super chat. Otherwise, we won't get to them all, and we're really sorry about that. John is asking Bucky, Rashad White, Pollard, Stevenson, Zay in a half PPR. I'm leaning towards benching the Bucks running backs. That's Zay Flowers, not Zay Jones. I think it said Zay Jones. Sorry. Um, which flex 3? So he needs to drop 2. I don't know if I'm benching the Bucks running backs.
I wouldn't. I wouldn't say that at all. These are all really good options. I understand concerns with Bucky playing or not, and with the hip. I believe it was a hip injury. Um,
He's got back tightness as well. That's the bigger
right.
concern right now. So
Uh,
either way, Pollard has a great matchup, trying to get over 1,000 yards. Cincinnati's run defense is really hurting. So I'm in on Pollard and Rashad to start. And the question is, are we going to go Flowers, Stevenson, or Bucky being banged up? Banged up Bucky.
Stevenson doesn't have a terrible matchup either,
Yep.
but he has been splitting a little more time with Gibson. So I could see where that's a concern, where he may be more the running guy and Gibson's more the pass catching guy. So
So
because
because
I may knock him out because of that.
yeah, so it almost feels like. And tell me what your thoughts on this. If you want a floor play, it's Stevenson, but if you want an upside play, it's Zay.
Is he going to get a lot of passes though against the Giants?
The Giants secondary is just so beat up at the cornerback position.
Are
Nobody's
they
out
going
at
to throw the
safety.
ball, or are they just going to run it all day?
I think they're going to race out to a big league. I do predict Henry to get 2 touchdowns today. Um, but I could see this being like a 35-3 game or 38-3 or something ridiculous like that. So I think Zay can eat as well. I'm taking out
So you're going.
Bucky because of the risk of the back tightening up and all that kind of stuff. That's what I'm worried about with him. He could start and then maybe not finish, similar to the Brees Hall discussion we had earlier.
Okay. So White and Pollard for sure. I'll go Zay Flowers. I really don't think you're going to lose with any of these, to be honest with you. Like
Okay.
just about any combination is going to go well, I think, minus the concerns of Bucky.
Right. So
Um,
Rashad, Pollard, and Zay we're going with.
we'll go with that. I
All
don't
right.
like that.
Roger's asking us thoughts on Kyle Hamilton and Jalen Thompson this week.
I
Kyle
feel really
Hamilton,
good about Jalen Thompson.
I feel better about Thompson than Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
I'm with you. All right, we're going to pick up the pace, unfortunately. Dynasty Daddy is saying Jordan Brooks or EJ Speed.
I'll take Brooks.
I would take Brooks as well because I think Mixon's going to run the ball about 20 times. I'm with you.
We have a super chat.
We do have a super chat. You want to click on it, pull it up, then we'll come back to Ant Live?
There we go. Pick
Thank you,
three.
Shamar Sam. Pick 3. Um, that's not Kenyon
Drake's
Drake. Which Drake?
Drake London. Drake
Drake
London.
London. Hello, Ricky. Wake up. Okay, Drake London. Zay Flowers, Adam Thielen, my goodness, Jacoby Myers or Khalil Shakir, and it's a full PPR, is what Shamar Sam is saying.
So we're in on Zay Flowers.
I do like Zay this week, but there's some interesting options here. I do like Drake London against this Vegas uh, passing attack, and I do love Thielen against this Dallas attack.
Right. Myers, I just don't trust Ritter, if I'm being honest.
The Atlanta secondary has been horrendous, and there hasn't been much of a pass rush, but Ritter is the one that has me dragging him down. I am with
Right.
you there. Okay.
And Shakir, I like Shakir. He gets, he's a PPR guy. Uh, but Detroit could be a tough matchup. Could have Brian Branch on him all day.
So we're going Drake London, we're going Zay Flowers, we're going Adam Thielen. So the first three on this list.
I think so.
I am with you on that one. Good luck, Shamar Sam, and um, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it. All right, keep looking if there's any more of those. All right, we have only about 9 minutes left, so if you want to make sure you get your question answered, use the super chat, everybody. Ant Live is asking, need three linebackers in tackle heavy
Where
leagues.
did
So,
where did he did this?
oh, we did this one. We sure did.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, okay. Alec Martin is asking, wanted to get a second opinion. My last IDP flex spot, Peyton Wilson and Hewitt. I was told and said take a risk and depart DeMore and then put Worley in a DB and wait and see if Harris is playing. Harris is going to play. So, and we
Right.
talked about that a little bit earlier, and Peyton Wilson is a real gamble when he's only playing 40% of the snaps, roughly 45% of the snaps. Um,
I don't feel good about any of those.
yeah. So here's what we tell you, Alex. Out of these, DeMar would be the one we play, but you've got to have a pivot in the later games. Okay. Harris is just too much of an unknown along with Hewitt about how much they might play, and we really think it's going to be a rotation in Harris's first week back. So with
I'll
that,
say this:
go ahead.
Jerome Baker was declared out as well. So if you can find Luke Gifford or Otis Reese, either one of them, I would play over Wilson, Hewitt, Harris. So
And
yeah, I would try to find a guy like that.
of those two, it's definitely Luke Gifford. So if Murray, assuming Murray was active,
I haven't seen Murray yet. I don't think he practiced all week, did he?
yeah, Murray got taken off the injury list on Friday.
He did
Let me
got
do,
taken off because he was DNP the last I had seen.
yeah, I'm 99% certain he was taken off the injury list on Friday.
Okay, so yeah, definitely Luke Gifford over Murray or
Yeah,
over Reese.
okay, good deal. All right, Cole Moss is asking, can't decide between Chuba or Charbonnet. Well, let's run through these quicker. We're gonna do less analysis, trying to get more questions and just give answers. At least
Oh
try.
man, this is tough. I feel like Green Bay is probably a little better against the run, so I will take Chuba.
You're gonna take Chuba. I am gonna
I
take
think
Chuba
so.
as well, but it's close.
It's really close.
Charbonnet feels like an outlier.
Oof.
For the game last week felt like an outlier for him. Sorry, that's what I meant to say. All right, next we have CD Lamb or JSN. Are we trusting Cooper Rush? Or are we going with Gino to deliver for us this week?
Um, I'll take JSN on this one. He's been doing really well.
Boy,
I don't know if it's PPR.
that's a great
If it's
question.
PPR, I might go Lamb over JSN.
I'm gonna go Lamb on this one. Sorry to split it on you, Dale, But right now, I'm gonna go with the when it goes to playoff time. I'm gonna go with someone I picked in the first round. I'm gonna go with Lamb, particularly when the shoulder doesn't seem to be an issue.
Right.
Okay. All right. MDAV has a few different questions here. Let's try and do sit one out of Charbonnet, Dowdle, and David Montgomery against Buffalo.
I don't know if I could ever sit David Montgomery. I will
I'm si-
sit.
I'm sitting Dowdle out of this one.
Are you?
Yep. I think we're gonna split. Sorry, MDAV.
Yeah, I'm going to go with. I'm going to sit Charbonnet on this one.
All right. I think we should bet on
Yeah.
this one. It's these are all three good options, by the way. I think they're all
Yes.
going to do well. So it's kind of you got a cream group here to pick from. There. Sorry, we split on you, MDAV. MDAV has one more: Stevenson, Mooney, or Thielen.
PPR, I will take Thielen slightly over Mooney.
In PPR, I'm going Thielen as well with Dallas over Mooney. I think Mooney will be there's a huge boom opportunity, but a huge bust as well. If you're desperate because you had a Cooper Cup, I might lean towards Mooney with Cup putting a goose egg, but otherwise I'm running with Thielen. Okay, Don Cam, who I think might be new. Welcome, Don Cam. Knicks, Bryce Young, or Anthony Richardson? Wow, what a great question there. Tough question there.
It's between Knicks and Young for me.
Yeah, in fantasy playoff week right now, I can't trust Richardson. I'm with you right there, and I think I'm going Knicks in this one.
I think I am too with the dual threat ability here. I'll take that.
Okay, we have Glue Sniffer. This one I would remember, so I think Glue Sniffer's new. All right. Um, Half point PPR, Mooney or Ridley?
See, this one's more interesting. I think you
Tennessee
just
against
about,
that Cincinnati
yeah,
secondary, which has struggled. But Love has
just
also
struggled a lot.
struggled badly last week. Cousin exactly hasn't been lighting the world on fire, and they're going against a bad Raiders secondary.
I think I want Mooney. I think he'll catch less passes, but I think he'll give way more yards.
I'm going to go Mooney as well this week.
It's a bit rainy here in Tennessee as well.
Okay, that's good to know. Oh, that's right. I did see that on the weather report. That is a great call out. Folks, check the weather reports. If you have any, go to NFLweather.com. If you have any players that are close, and some of the matchups like Cleveland and Kansas City are really bad for weather this week, so definitely check that out. Okay. Do we have any other super chats right now, um,
No,
Sean? Okay. All right. We only have a couple minutes left, folks. We're not going to get to many more questions. Yo, to you, a Manster 23, Waddle or Keenan, and Bucky or Ramondre?
I'll take Waddle.
Yeah, I'm going Waddle as well. The last few weeks, he's starting to get used more. He's had at least, I think it was 54 yards each of the last 3 weeks, if I remember correctly, with a real boom game in there. Um, I'd rather trust that than trust Caleb Williams and the Bears offense against Minnesota right now. Even though Caleb did throw for over 300 last time they played, second time you play inter-division game, particularly with a rookie quarterback, I'm not trusting that. Bucky or Ramondre?
If Bucky's playing, I have to take him over Ramondre.
Yep, if Bucky's active, I'm doing the same thing. If he's inactive, I know we're worried about the back, and we talked about it earlier, but boy, I just don't have a lot of confidence in Ramondre right now. I'm with you. Thanks for the help with starting Hubbard last week. Man went off. You're very welcome, Alec, and thanks for being a regular. Here's Moose. Moose is asking, and we're at the top of the hour, folks, so we're only going to do one or two more questions unless you do a super chat. So just being real transparent with everybody. One tight end needed Muth, Otten, or Pitts. Muth. I'm drawing. Fryermuth.
Armouth.
Fryermuth, Otten, or Pitts. I'm not playing Pitts.
No, no, absolutely not. I think I'm leaning Fryermuth here. I think he's getting more targets than Otten right now.
You like Fryermuth because no Pickens even against the Philadelphia defense?
He's got to throw to somebody, and he threw to everybody. Muth was one of those everybody's. With Tampa Bay, with them checking down to White and Bucky, still have Evans.
Yeah.
McMillan kind
Since
of came forward, so I feel like Alton might be getting pushed out a little bit.
agreed. So we're going with Fryermuth on this one. Need one running back. Najee, Pollard, Downs or Thielen, but Downs or Thielen are wide receivers. So I think this is probably a flex, is my guess. So out of Najee, Pollard, Downs, or Thielen, who you playing?
So you needed one tight end. We're picking two of these guys. One of them has to be a running back. Najee Pollard
Oh,
down.
okay, got it. Thank you for clarifying. Yes, I didn't pick up on that.
I want Pollard and Thielen.
I'm going Pollard and Thielen with you as well. Good luck, Moose. Malik Eckers, Neighbors, Brees, or Jaden Reed,
Oh my god.
and one tight end, Hawkinson or Jonnu. I'm going Jonnu.
Yeah, Johnu for sure on that one.
And the flex, Neighbors, Brees, or Reed.
It's between Neighbors and Reed, and I don't feel great about either one. Uh, Maybe Reed gets the touchdown.
He hasn't
Neighbors,
done much. I mean, they have
I
just
know.
not, they've been doing a lot of two tight ends. I mean, he's at risk of like 2 points. Neighbors has been at least scoring between 12 and 15 the last 3 weeks, whether it be DeVito or Locke. I'm
In
going Neighbors
PPR,
on that one. Yeah, I'm not with Brees with the potential limited playing time. I'm going Neighbors, assuming PPR. Great point.
yeah. Well, I don't like I said, with as bad as Reed has been playing, it may not even matter if it's PPR. Yeah, neighbor. I'll go Neighbors as well.
All right, we'll do a couple more of these. I'm gonna jump around to some of our regulars who have been coming every week, and make sure and hit them. Sam, Adam Thielen, or Marvin Harrison as wide receiver 2 this week.
Thielen.
I'm with you. Marvin Harrison has the name, but Thielen, who
He
I'm
has the
trusting
name.
this week.
Yeah.
Mbot, because he's a regular. Love you guys. Lots of respect for the work. Appreciate your time for the stream each week. You're welcome, Mbot. Thanks for being a regular. Ken is a regular, so I want to make sure we try and help Ken out here real quick. Trevor Morick or Teron Johnson. Morick
Ooh.
finally came back out of a funk last week, was being used no different than in the past, but he actually produced last week.
Um, Boy, this is fun. This is going to be a shootout, right? I think I'll stick with Johnson.
I'm going to stick with Johnson as well on this one. I agree with you. Um, JJ, love JJ. How you doing, JJ? Hopefully you're doing well, man. Miss seeing you, my friend. Eric Kendricks or Nick Bonito.
Nick
They're both in the later
Benito.
window.
Oh,
Oh, sorry about that. Didn't mean to do that. Sorry.
Um, yeah, I think I'm sticking with Benito. He just about guarantees me a sack. Kendricks is banged up, right?
Yeah, the risk with Kendricks. So if you need a floor play with solid tackles, JJ, I'm playing Eric Kendricks. But the risk is Kendricks is out. And is he in the early game or late game? He is in the early game. Let me see if I can find out Dallas real quick if they made him inactive. I forgot when I was looking at it. Kendricks is not showing as inactive. If I need tackles, I'm going Kendricks. If I need a big play and there's big points for sacks, I'm going Benito.
Yeah, I like that. I like
Okay.
that.
Mbot, super chat for more jokes, man. I hear you. In fact, I've been known to have a lot of bad jokes, so you might be hearing more of those on the IDP Advice Show as well. Rugaru, another regular. Buy in both leagues. Nice, just listen. Glad to have you, Rugaru. Love you.
Awesome, man.
Go Saints. Go Tigers. Although I almost want the Saints to lose to get a better draft pick at this point. Okay. Summer's a regular. Summer's become a regular. I want to reach out, try and help her real quick, or him. I think it's a her. Sorry. Right. Let's choose three. And this will be our last question, unless there's a super chat, folks. And I don't see any other super chats, so this will be our last question.
All right. Choose three. Of those three, or of those linebackers, I think I like Gifford the most.
I Gifford in the second linebacker role hasn't been as productive as that first linebacker role like Murray will be, but it has been fairly productive. So I do like Gifford. Chargers are not running the ball very much with Dobbins and not running it very well. So I don't see a lot of run game opportunities for David. If you listen to IDP Advice Show, I'm way down on the Chiefs in particular,
Yeah.
including Bolton. Hicks isn't great. Knight, he led the team in tackles last week, but only played like about 80% of the snaps, which isn't good.
So
All right.
Davis Gaither.
Davis, Gaither, Gifford. Who's our third one?
I still might take Bolton overnight.
Oh, I hate to
David
do this
more.
to Summer, but I'm going to do David over Bolton.
You like David more?
I
Hmm.
think, well, once again, the reason is because of the weather. I think the game and the pace of the game slows down as a result. Probably a lot more running, even though you would think that would give more opportunities for Bolton. But I just don't feel
Right.
good about these rain games and all, and the bad winds and all. So we're split on the last one between David and Bolton, but we're going to go with Davis, Gaither, and Gifford out of this list, and then need two out of Delpit, Peppers, Teron Johnson, and Amade.
Amadi's my top. Um,
Amade's number one for me too. Also,
it's between Peppers and Johnson for me. And
yeah,
I find this to be a little closer than I initially glanced at it.
I think I'm leaning Peppers on this one.
Man, it's close.
This is where, if I knew the scoring system, it might make a difference between Johnson and Peppers. If cornerbacks get more points for tackles, for example. Um,
Usually your defensive backs are all kind of included most of the time. Um, but yeah, I could see, if is it tackles or is it deflections and stuff like that. I think these guys finish pretty similar. I'll go Peppers as well.
okay, Amadi and Peppers, Summer. And I'll just do one more quick scan. I don't see any more super chats, so we're going to call it a wrap here. We've already run 8 minutes over trying to help you all. Thank you for joining. IDP Plus, you can sign up, and we actually have people in Discord answering questions as well. Um, with the promo code props, you can get 20% off. Check out my IDP Plus Advice Show on YouTube. It gets published on Wednesday mornings here. I film it on Tuesday night. But we have all kind of tremendous shows on our YouTube channel. Great content and information on our website, rankings, injuries, articles, you name it. We've got great stuff there for a really low and reasonable price relative to some of the big guys out there. Sean, any final words that you want to share with our listeners today?
Good luck, everybody. Start your studs if it's close. Um, Best of luck, man.
And just remember, if you went through the right thought process, the right thought process might always not lead to the correct results, but if you just thought through it properly and correctly, you did what you could do, and then the players just let you down, and they suck, not you. Okay, with that, have a great week, and we will see you all next week on the Start Sit Show. Take care, everybody. Bye.